Everybody, I am so excited to be here. I watched Latoya's show, and so I'm glad to be on today to share these tips with you. Now, the first tip that I'm going to share has to do with reading. Believe it or not, I tell so many authors this, and they're like, I don't have time to read because I'm writing. You must make the time to read. You want to read a lot, especially in the genre that you want to write. Read, read, read. Whatever genre it is that you want to write, read a lot in the genre. Why do you say? The reason is because their books take has trends, and editors have a certain kind of book that they're looking for, or storyline in the genre that you're writing, or some tropes, if you're into romances, are hotter than others at different times. And so you definitely want to read a lot in the genre. It gives you idea of what they're looking for. And also it gives you writing for me, I call it reading for me rather, I call it my fuel. Whenever I'm about to write, I read a lot, and I read even while writing because it just keeps me going. And so that's my very first tip, is to read, read, read. And also just think about it. How are you going to ask others to read your book if you haven't read theirs? Which leads me to another tip that's coming up, my tip number 4. My second tip is, I know that we're in the age of social media. We have Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I can only manage but so many, and there are so many pros out there that do a great job at that. But I am still going to urge you, pay that money and get an actual website. Make sure that you have your www dot and whatever your author name is, because editors and agents, they will go on and check for an actual website. That's one of the tips that help them to know that you're serious about your craft. It's also necessary. Readers, the real readers, I've often said this, are not on social media, they're reading. So if they like you, they're going to go to your website. Amazon is wonderful and they can follow your page, yes, but not every reader utilizes Amazon. They often still buy hardcovers or going to the library. So get a website. I cannot say that enough. Make sure you have a website. And while you're at it, make sure that your website is professionally designed. I could go into that topic and stay there, but I'm going to move on. The third tip is, and this is something that I did not know myself when I first started writing, that there's actually a craft to writing. There's so much to learn about writing itself. So you want to study the craft of writing. And how would you study that craft? One of the ways is by attending workshops. Get to know the authors that you love. They are often going to conferences and workshops. I was self-published until I went to the a retreat hosted by another author, Tiffany Warren, and that's where I met Joylyn Ross, who signed me because I got a chance to meet editors face to face. And that's often at workshops and conferences. Pay the fee, and invest in yourself as a writer by going to these workshops. One of the things that I learned at the workshop was how to pitch. I actually even met Latoya before at a workshop before, right? So you learn how to pitch, you learn how to do your queries, all these little tips you learn at workshops. And the authors and agents, they're often not on their emails during that time. They're really about interacting with authors, and you get face-to-face time, maybe that 15 minutes, you do your killer pitch. So that's what I'm going to say, is learn that craft of writing, and attending those workshops is a part of that craft of writing. There are some wonderful books out there on writing, and you definitely want to utilize those as well, but you definitely want to learn that craft of writing. So there's a way to capture, there's a way to tell a story, and by investing and learning the craft, that's some of the things that you will learn. Another thing that goes really hand in hand with a lot of what I'm saying is network. networking with other authors. How do you network with other authors? Start reading their books. How about that? Start reading their books. Avoid the inbox of, I saw you wrote a book. Can you help me with mine? Start off by saying, I have read your book and I like this and I like your writing. Flattery will get you some places. Network with authors, whether it be on Twitter or Facebook. Begin to support them. I cannot tell you how much of a blessing it is when you support other authors. This is not, I know that we are naturally, some of us are type A personalities, we're naturally competitive, but do not, you got to put that competition to rest and begin to celebrate. I started celebrating other authors I'm writing for Harlequin, and I begin to know other authors in Harlequin, supporting their work, reaching out, saying I love what your work, and I genuinely have read their work. So yeah, you definitely want to back it up by my tip number one, which is reading, and read their work. Number one, you learn. I have an auto light. Hang on. Okay.
There we
You
go.
you learn so much about writing by actually reading and by seeing their vocabulary, the words that you use, the descriptions. I could talk a lot about descriptions, but definitely you want to network with other authors. It's really important. And guess where's another spot you get to meet them? At conferences. Do you see how all my tips are kind of like lining up together? Finally, my fifth tip for you is, and believe it or not, I'm sorry I have to say this to you guys, but it's really important that you be professional and courteous. Manners get you a long way. Okay, you have got to maintain a professional appearance at all times. So your books, you want them professionally done. Your author photos should be professionally done. I know the iPhone can take some great photos anyhow, but you still want to make sure that it still has that professional feel and you know how to pose for your author pictures. And being courteous. Here's in your interaction with editors and agents. You have got to expect in this world, in this writing world, rejection is a part of the process. You will get hundreds, possibly thousands of rejections. It comes with the territory. Do not take it personally. There are so many different reasons why your work is rejected. But remember what I said about studying the writing craft. You do not want to get rejected because you didn't know how to write a proper query or you didn't know how to write those first 5 pages. That's the name of a book that you should get, by the way. But anyway, so you definitely want to be professional in your query. You know, your query want to be, you want it to be fresh. You want to grab the editor. So that's how you learn, and that's how they'll know that they're dealing with a professional author. They can tell, right? So your
Yes, we
website
can.
also tell that. So in your query work, so you did your best query that you can and you got a rejection. It doesn't hurt. They may not even read it, but it doesn't hurt to respond and go, thank you so much for taking the time to read my work. Your attitude goes a long way. There are so many authors that are super talented that may not have agents or editors because they do not know how to maintain that professional and respectful attitude. I want to tell you about that. On social media, yes, this I even in outside of the author world, in just the business world, yes, they are looking at your social media pages. So make sure that you can stand by whatever you post and that it represents your brand. You're building a brand as an author. So if you're into Christian fiction, you cannot, there's certain things that you probably would not want to post and get out there. Probably not, right? So you want to think about that. So this is all under being professional and courteous. So when they go to your Twitter page, if you're a Christian fiction author, are you inspirational on your page? So you're always, yes, you can be personal, but you definitely want to use your name. Once your author name is out there, you want to use that. It's now your brand. So you want to be professional always. And again, going back to the rejection, it is normal. Even authors with agents get rejection, people. Please know that it is not a gateway. Once you have an agent, that is going to be a yes all the time. Sometimes your agent say, no, this work is not going to work. Sometimes the editor say, no, this is not going to work. And so you got to constantly keep yourself fresh as an author. And that still goes back to my networking and reading. You'll get more ideas when you read. And, I didn't write this one down, but I'm going to tell you, we as authors always have our pen and paper. It could be our iPad or keyboard, whatever it is, to jot those ideas down. Keep them even in the editing process. Keep everything, keep it. You never know. You never know when you're going to use it again. So those are a few of my tips, and I hope that they'll really be helpful to you.